and welcome back to Community Couch Time, a daily talk show where we talk about things that are important, things that are happening in our community, in our state, in this country, and internationally. Oftentimes, the topics that we discuss are ones that others aren't talking about. And the question is, why aren't we?
Hello and welcome back to Community Couch Time. Once again, this is going to be a great day. We have an amazing guest, Dr. Theresa Montaño. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Lupe. Good to see you this morning.
Yeah, it's really a great time in history that we're all living. And I kind of wanted to talk to you about that, this great history, the passing of AB 101, which makes ethnic studies a graduation requirement for high school students in the state of California. Can you talk to us a little bit about like the history of this passing?
Oh my God. You know, for 500 years, really, we have been fighting for ethnic studies, right? We've been fighting for Chicano studies, for Mexican American studies since the days of the conquest. Right. The idea of visibility, of knowing your history, of knowing who you are. And then the last 53 years since the 1968 walkouts, and then only to find out last week that we finally got ethnic studies as a graduation requirement. And it's due to the hard work and the efforts of communities of color who fought so hard and would not give up until we got it. So it's absolutely significant. The high school students joined the community colleges and the CSU in requiring that every student in California take one ethnic studies course. One course throughout their 4 years, the 12 years, not enough.
Yeah,
it is a significant victory.
Yeah, I really love that you brought in the fact that like students were a part of this movement, right? Like students have been asking to see themselves, to hear themselves, to learn about themselves in schools and to be respected. And so I really wanted to highlight that. Like, this is for you all. You all asked for it. And now we're going to have this. So for high school students or, college students out there, like, what does this mean for them?
Well, it means that before you get out of high school, you will be required to take one course that focuses on 4 groups: Asian American and Pacific Islanders, which includes Arab Americans, Chicanos and Latinos, African American, and American Indian. Now, rightly, you could still take a course in each of them. But that would be one course that uncovers and reveals the histories and stories of people of color in the U.S. Not a lot to ask for, but that's significant. 75% of this state are students of color. 54% of those students are Chicano and Latino, right? For the first time in history, other people's children will be required to learn about the majority in the state of California. Exciting. And everything shows that when you take an ethnic studies course that's centered on anti-racist, decolonial, liberatory history, students love it. Whether they're white or whether they're students of color, they love it. For the first time, they're told the truth, and they don't have to wait till they come to the university.
Right. And so what does it mean, like, in terms of students majoring, like, in ethnic studies? Like, how would that make an impact?
For the first time in a long time, when I first started in the field of Chicano studies, my students would come to me and say, my parents want to know, what am I going to do with the Chicano studies major, right? And that time I used to say, you could do this, you could be a social worker, you bring the Chicano lens to your field, and that means you understand the people. Right now is the most, the opportunities for those majoring in any of the ethnic studies fields is wide open. For example, there are like 22 job openings in the CSU alone.
Wow.
For anyone who has a master's or a PhD in ethnic studies, right? The number of ethnic studies teachers we're going to need in the field is, I can't tell you how important that is.
Right.
Social workers that understand the communities, right? Psychologists, right? Environmental justice. Right. We've always said ethnic studies is interdisciplinary. So now we get to lead the field in many subject areas by bringing in an ethnic studies lens and bringing in communities of color. The opportunities to major in any of the ethnic studies is wide open. This is the time to do it. Not only learn about yourself in the process and your community, but then you take what you learn back to your job and to your profession.
That's wonderful. So if let's just have this this scenario. What if students out there don't start majoring in ethnic studies? Who will be teaching all of these ethnic studies courses that are going to spring up? I want that question answered.
Yeah, well, that's a concern. Yeah. In the sense that what we're going to be seeing is everybody wants to be ethnic studies and everybody wants to be an expert in ethnic studies. And very few have actually majored in ethnic studies and understand the content. So it's like everybody's saying, well, I know 2 and 2 is 4, right? So I can be a math teacher. Right?
Yeah, I know.
Right? I know Newton's law of gravity, so I can be a physics teacher, right? No, and that's the same thing we're going to see in ethnic studies. People say, well, I know that today is Indigenous Peoples Day, so then I get to be ethnic studies.
Right.
And right now, all that's required is a social studies credential. Now, I love my field, but that there are history teachers that don't know a darn thing about ethnic people or ethnic studies or ethnic history in the state of California. Mm-hmm. This is not Food Fiesta and Folklorico time. This is not let's multiculturalize U.S. history. Right. This is centering the voices of communities of color. And that's a discipline. It's a way of being. It's an epistemology, which is a way of being. It's knowledge. Right? It's 500 years of knowledge, and it's also best practices. How do you teach this curriculum? It's not the same way that you teach, even history.
Right.
Yeah. So we have a real shortage. There's not enough. And my fear is that anybody is going to be able to teach it and not know what it is, which then means the bill is not worth the ink that it was signed with.
Correct. And so that leaves us at the end here. And I really want to encourage many of you out there, especially those of you who are already taking, ethnic studies, Chicano studies, Black studies, Asian American Pacific Islander studies, or Native American studies, consider majoring in it. We need you. We need you in the field. Thank you so much, Theresa. I hope you have a great day.
Thank you, Lupe. Have a good day too.
Okay. Talk to you later.
Alrighty. Bye-bye.
I always feel so inspired when Dr. Theresa Montaño shares her passion and knowledge of Chicana and Chicano studies and ethnic studies with us. I'm sure you were inspired too. So, for the community couch time discussion question, I want you to think about what you are currently majoring in or will major in one day. How would knowledge of ethnic studies make you better at the career of your choice? Thank you, and in la catch.